Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome everybody to be here in this space where we are connecting from many different places in the world to share our ways of being with unknown. Um, Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your accepting invitation for this meeting, for your openness and generosity, and welcome. And I think this place, in this place, we can create value for ourselves and others, the people who will watch this material after. So before we go forward, maybe we can introduce ourselves and say a few words about ourselves and from which place you are connecting. I I can start and my name is Michal Kulakowski. I'm a psychologist. I'm Polish originally and living right now in southeast of China, and I'm glad to be here. Especially, I meet my teachers, Celine, Kasia, and our co practitioners of creative mind. So I'm happy to be here.
Well, I can jump in and introduce myself. I'm Celine Cuman Vega. I am a psychotherapist in Santa Cruz, California, and also faculty at Saybrook University's Mind Body Medicine program, graduate program in based in California. And let's see, and I'm a dancer and a long time practitioner of ways of being more conscious.
Welcome, Celine. It's great to have you here.
Good to be here.
Go next. I am Kasia Cyber Gabriel. I live in San Diego, California. And almost many years. I have retired from my formal job with San Diego County, but I continue to work as a psychotherapist. Since I retired, so I am looking into unknown, which is both I would like to say I'm not frightened, but maybe I am. So I'm open to what is, and like Celine, I think I would say I'm a seeker and a lifelong learner. I'm originally, yes, from Poland, transplant to California.
Welcome, Kasia. It's great to have you here.
I can go next. And my name is Nigel Partridge Dyer. I live in England. And I'm a semi-retired teacher. Taught physical education for 20 years. And now teach leadership and senior high school children. I facilitate, coach, generative coach, creative minds coach. And in my semi-retirement, I'm looking to bring this work into the world, and very curious as to how I might do that. I'm really pleased to be here. And the notion of being comfortable with not knowing seems to be very important at the moment. Thank you.
Welcome, Nigel. Great to have you here.
I can jump in. My name is Alex. I am currently in Sweden, in the countryside, and I'm originally from the UK, from the southwest. And yeah, I have been a magician and an actor, among other things. I'm currently currently writing and been studying on the Creative Mind coaching program, which has just finished as well, and looking to bring that more into my practice. And yeah, just echo what Nigel shared. Like, I don't think I've ever felt such a need to get comfortable with the unknown, and yeah, it feels very very good that we're going into a little exploration of this. Happy to be a part.
Thank you, Alex, for joining, and welcome. It's great to have you here.
I can go next. I'm Gloria. I'm from Argentina, but I live in Switzerland and I've left Argentina. I've been away, I've living away for 20 years and more, and lived in different countries. And now I'm embracing the unknown. Sort of everything is unknown around me. And I'm just struggling, not easy. So Creative Mind was really, really helpful because my husband retired 2 years ago. So haven't worked since I left Argentina because I was with my daughters. Then they left, and we were still like expats in different parts of the world. My husband retired, and we don't know where we're going to live. So we are spending like half of the year in Argentina, half of the year in Switzerland. And this year has been particularly difficult because it's like every part where we are in, it's shaking, nothing is stable. So I thought this was a great topic. I don't know if I have answers, but I'm definitely in the unknown. Thank you.
Welcome, Gloria. It's great to have you here. Hello, hello, Marta. Hello, hello, Marta.
Sorry for being a little late. My name is Marta. And I think I was in a group with Gloria and Elena at some point. I just don't know when that was. I remember being dealt those cards.
PM 2020. First
last summer,
yeah.
right? Yeah. And you know, Kasia from Trans Camp. Yeah. So I am also from Poland. It's so cool how, like, I left Poland maybe 20 years ago, and I live in Colorado now. I've lived in different places in the United States mostly, although not only. But it's so cool, this Poland and how it changes for me these days, because I always had this some sort of shame from being from Poland. And now I'm like, we are the fucking best. I'm so proud. So I just wanted to voice this because there's some cool thing that happens when I say that I'm from Poland, and I for the first time feel that. Instead of like, yeah, I'm from, you might have heard of this place. It's where everybody's drunk. To this, like, you know, we get to show that other part. So anyway, sorry. Thank you for receiving that. And I am a life coach. I've been studying with Stephen for a couple years now, and I kind of went all in. I did all the things, supervision and CM and trans camp, and And I just, it's such a great antidote to the knowing that the coaching world offers, oh, the 7 steps to to getting your life together, or I'll tell you how to be happy, to like, oh no, actually there's so much more. And I think we need both. So that's why I'm in this conversation.
Yeah. Welcome, Marta. That's great to have you here. And right now, which place you are right now?
Colorado. I'm
Colorado.
in Western Colorado. So it's kind of like in the desert close to the beautiful red stone of Utah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm a lifelong rock climber, so I always follow the good climbs.
I'm very glad, Elena, that you joined our meeting. I know you are super busy. I had the opportunity to work with you, to have sessions, and I know like how busy you are. So thank you for joining us as well. Could you share something about yourself? We are sharing about our names and professional background and the place from where we are connecting.
Hi everyone, and happy to see you all. And of course, I just couldn't miss, even if I'm so busy now. And just this topic, this being this not knowing, unknown, and it's becoming like I feel I become an expert in this terms because I'm Russian. I'm from Moscow. And I left Russia after annexation of Crimea. So it was the right decision now after 8 years, as we understood with my husband, he's Ukrainian. So now we really in this really special situation, and parents and relatives of my husband now just escaped from Ukraine and they came to Europe to us via Poland with the help of Polish people, and so that this I should say that all that 8 years. It was always really challenging because I know it's not that I actually I didn't expect that situation would be like this, but I could expect actually. That's why it was done. And it's interesting how it's developing all this, and now we're really in unknown place, in unknown whole world, and I just it's like Marta was saying that she used to was feeling she's Poland like this, and then she could proud, and everyone knows. And for me, it was actually like last years, I wasn't proud that I'm Russian, yes, especially last 2 weeks. So, and for me, it's also challenging. And I'm happy that I became creative mind coach because of it in the right moment. And I have this method now to deal and to help myself, to help my family, to help people around me, and to help people further around in the world also, because it's a really beautiful how I should say, beautiful work. Really special. And also I'm a generative change coach, practitioner, and I'm professional certified coach according to ICF, International Coach Federation, and psychologist. And I just love to be here and happy maybe to be part of something big that we could explore together.
Welcome, Elena. It's great to have you here. And before we will go further, I would like just to mention that what we already heard about just a little bit. We heard about generative, about creative mind course led by Steve Gilligan, and in my group where Celine was a team leader, and we had this conversation, very rich conversation about being with unknown, and Celine also shared with us her meditation movie, her movie with meditation about being with unknown. And after this rich and touching conversation, came idea to have this meeting, to record this conversation, which we are doing right now, to share with bigger audience, to share with people all over the world. And we are going through huge change right now. We can say change is a stable part of life. We can't jump in to the same river twice, because the river is changing and we are changing. But especially right now, what we see, what is happening in Ukraine, for example, I would like to bring this topic as well. I think we are facing huge geopolitical and economical changes, and also what is maybe the most important, consciousness change. We can see how exactly people respond to the situation, and so every change brings also unknown, and often can bring stress, anxiety, fear, and many different also emotions. So I'm curious, how is it in your life? How is it for you, for being with unknown?
I'm very happy to begin, and it's really interesting. For me, at the moment, the way I frame being, or trying at least to be comfortable with the unknown, is to consider that everything I do in this moment creates the future I want to see. If I don't change anything that I do, then nothing new will emerge. It's really interesting to think that there may not be another moment. So it's so important that I make the very best intention in this moment. And when I think of that, when I'm comfortable with how I am in this moment, centered, open, aware and connected, holding this moment, warmed with respect, excitement, with anticipation, thinking of what it is and moving towards that intention, I can really play with my three archetypes: tenderness, fierceness, playfulness, in every moment. I'm happy with that last moment, very grounded. I'm moving towards and being here, discussing, being comfortable with not knowing. Wow, that's really important to me in that journey of what I most want. to see in the world. I want to become that. And to the best of my ability, I am that in each moment. That's good. No. But to me, that makes so much sense. When I work, yesterday I was privileged to be working in front of 60 participants on a program and bringing the generative 6 steps and the creative minds program within that, just to bring everything that I've just said into the moment, was really fascinating and really interesting, really beautiful. And the result of that was to look around and see the smile, to receive the feedback. Yeah, that's what we want too. And we're moving towards that. This morning, I sang a song and sent it to the Creative Minds group and received the feedback. Yeah, oh, we're together in this. Not knowing, well, I don't think a few months ago or a year ago, I would have stepped into this room because I wasn't comfortable with not knowing. But I'm getting more comfortable and I'm here, and it's a real privilege to be here.
Yeah.
It's good that I'm muted. It helps me to land. Maybe take a breath, apropos being present. So I left Poland when I was 17. And then I kind of ran through life trying to survive the best I could. And I got married and started working for San Diego County. And I worked for them for 33 years. I had children, which is an interesting thing because children will drop you into present, but at the same time put you on this managerial thing. You have to know everything, you know. And it's my personality. I really want to know, you know, what's next? How do we fix that? How do we do this? When do we go to the dentist? And then my children are adults now. And I retired after 33 years. And everybody was asking me, what are you going to do? And it's like, I don't know. And I mean, I've been studying Buddhism and various spiritual approaches, and Steve, of course. And so being present and being just comfortable with what is in the moment, which at the moment is really difficult. Being that I'm Polish, I am scheduled to go to Poland in 6 weeks. And so I guess my confession here is a lot of TV time, which I am not very proud of. But I am sort of trying to just be. And one other kind of strange piece, at least in my life, that when I was 15 living in Poland, I had what now we would call a depression. But nobody would call that in 1970s in Poland a depression. I was really acutely aware of death. Like I couldn't watch TV because the person will die. I couldn't talk to a friend because that friend would die. So I was just sort of in this no man's land of just feeling death, I guess, for many, many months and crying. And now I'm 65. I'm not afraid of death, but that's a big unknown. I'm actually curious about that unknown. So I don't know. For me, that's somehow all ties, and the challenge always is how to be in the moment, how to be with unknown and not trying to know, to solve it, right? To, like, even right now, do I go to Poland in 6 weeks? I was going to take my 31-year-old doctor son, who hasn't been in Poland for 20 years, and Mom, is it safe? I don't know. And the other big aspect of this, of course, is like a possibility of a nuclear war or of annihilation, at least of Poland and those little countries over there. So I don't know. So apropos shadows, this big shadow just sort of has landed. So that's sort of by sharing. I have no answers. I'm open. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, I thank you for all of your sharing. I've been touched, and I don't know what I'm going to say. It feels good to practice like releasing control. You know, I feel like I've been in such a strong tendency of trying to imagine what I'm going to say before I say it, and you know, trying to sort of control how I am appearing, yeah, so it feels good to begin to untangle this sort of habit of mine. And I also acknowledge that, you know, the times when I feel most alive are when I am stepping into the unknown and I'm in that sort of on the edge of my map of reality. And there's real vitality and life to be had in that place. And I was just doing a little exercise with Natasha from the course, in the group thing led by her and Julian. And yeah, I just felt to share because it was a little exercise of being with nature for 10 minutes and just sort of noticing what that evokes in your experience. And I've been suffering from a little bit of anxiety before the call. And so it felt really good to offer myself that that space. And yeah, so I thought I'd just read. It was really just stream of consciousness, and I wrote, last glint of sun passing through distant trees, the light still here, always here. Snow-covered patches of grass, bare trees, stark, clear verticalities decorating, breathing life into the horizontal. Thank you for reminding me to breathe, to reach, to dig deep, to support. Wispy open sky, vast, subtle, constant flowing from one form to another and another. It's okay.
Can I go? I just had kind of a breakthrough listening to you guys. Some of us, or everybody, has been in the weekend last part of Stephen Gilligan's year-long course, ended with, oh, actually, we're supposed to not to know anything. And that was a little hard for me, where I signed up for this thing thinking, oh, I'm going to be better at something and I'm going to have some skills. And there he goes telling me, you know, nothing. I was like, thanks a lot, Stephen. But beyond, this is a bit of a joke, but beyond that, really coming into that place of not knowing and seeing how scary it is. And I've been in this space for the last couple of days, and then listening to you guys, I just remembered who I was for a second, and I remembered what it is that I do every time I go rock climbing. I've been climbing for almost 30 years now, and so it's a real mastery practice for me. And the word that came in was adventure. And it's so funny to think about it. Oh, I'm not supposed to know, not knowing, oh, I'm here scared. Or I'm going on an adventure. I'm gonna go and see what's out there. I'm gonna bring my not knowing as a blank slate on which I can experience the world in yet another way that's unbiased by all the other ways that I experience it. And something that Alex said just a second ago, experience myself at that edge of what's possible, my comfort zone, one can say, or the edge of my map, right? And the vitality and what it turns on in me when I'm at that edge. And so I just wanted to briefly talk you through when I come into a place of unknowing, when I go climbing, and it can be really scary, right? Because it's purposefully it's supposed to be, right? I mean, I'm not doing this so that I can feel comfortable. I'm doing this to experience something, right? So a lot of it is really clearing my mind and getting really into my body and admitting. It's very similar to this, many other things that we do, right? Admitting that there's something bigger than me, that I don't have all the answers, but I'm here and I'm going to solve the puzzle of what this rock climb is with my body. Therefore, I'm going to listen to what's coming through, and I'm going to respond with my clearest of channels, right? And just, I don't know, just doing that and remembering, oh, I know how to do that, really brought me into this much better place of, oh, I don't have to know in order to be doing whatever I'm doing, I guess.
Just listening to you, Marta, I was thinking that there are, at least for me now, what I'm experiencing now, there are two different kinds of unknowns, in the sense of there is a personal unknown in one's life, at different stages of one's life, like Kasia was saying, retirement, or different stages when there is a huge change. And then we are stepping into a personal unknown. And that's scary and that's difficult, and that's part of the evolution that all of us go through. What I'm experiencing now is that upheaval about the personal unknown and the world's unknown. It's like, I sometimes feel like it's really too much, because it's an adventure when it's personal, but when I'm in the middle of a huge upheaval, I don't know what world I'm stepping into. I left Switzerland. That's a simple example. And not, there are worse. Left Switzerland in October to come to Argentina to see what was going on. Here, the situation, Argentina is very used to living in the unknown because things keep changing and there is always crisis and chaos. So in a way, I was used to being in the unknown socially. But then that chaos was ours as well. So I had the personal unknown, that my country's unknown, which I got used to dealing with. And then I said, well, okay, it was complicated because now it's getting worse and worse, the chaos here. So I said, well, okay, I'll go back to breathe a little bit back in Switzerland. And now what I'm listening from my friends in Switzerland is that I'm not going back to the same Switzerland I left. People are scared. The government yesterday sent a communication for everything people need to buy just in case something happens, and where the nuclear shelters are. So people are getting into this state of massive scare. I don't know how to say it. So where am I going to? Where I'm coming from? There is no safe place where I can breathe, get my bearings back, and leave the unknown as an adventure. So I feel we are experiencing as humankind too much upheaval. And the only thing I was having a hard time yesterday is sleeping, because things were difficult over here. I said, I was trying to listen to Steve's voice and connecting to the tree, and just felt I was touching the tree. And I was listening to what Alex was saying. The only thing stable that I can find now is nature. Just watching the sun in the morning, fading in the evening, and that is the known. And that I can breathe. The rest, I'm community.
I would like to link also here, and hearing all of you, it's very touching, and waking up some insights inside of me. And Marta, you were sharing about your climbing experience and being on the edge. For many years, diver in many different circumstances, also professional work underwater, and also instructor. So this is also another professional work, and also other types of diving. So I'm sharing about this because to me, the difference between just challenge and adventure, or kind of mission, let's say, it's also a level of my it relates to focus, where I keep where I keep focus, and how I'm prepared. So there is level of, let's say, having control, at least about myself. How can I organize myself in unexpected or expected but challenging situations? I can imagine that something can happen, for example, underwater, and I can transfer this to another parts of my life. Something can happen, but what can I do to be in a state where I still can operate and respond creatively? It means to save my life, maybe support others, and even more bring something good. I mean, saving life is good, but to bring something more than survival, to blossom with others. So I'm saying this, I'm referring to different parts of my life, not only diving, but I started from diving. And so challenge becomes adventure when I have also fun and enjoy. But to do this, I need to be in a proper state. To be in a proper state, I need to remember about my own practice, my preparation. In diving, for example, equipment, my focus, sleep well, eat well, and many things, to be able to make dive. And in life, I could translate to life, what is my preparation when life brings me challenges, and how can I live my life as an adventure? What is my preparation? So for sure, state and be in this resourceful state. Resource, as I understand resource, is resource, source. So reconnect to source. So what is the source? Where is the source? I'm maybe not source, but I can find the source inside of me. So, which is much bigger than me. I'm relating now to my tradition when in which I'm growing for almost 50 years, 46. 46 I am, or 37. I'm 75, so 47. So I deeply believe there is much greater force than I am, or human ego, or there is wisdom. There is wisdom and love. There is consciousness, much bigger. And part of this practice is to surrender to this wisdom, to trust. But don't give up. Surrender doesn't mean give up. To keep this, what Stephen is teaching us, and keep this positive intention. Keep center, keep connection, attunement, and keep positive intention. And from this place, make decisions. And many times I fail on this simple, let's say, but not easy practice. But also it's very important not to judge myself, and one more time come to this place of acceptance and my weaknesses and fears, because I don't want to live in a fear. I can experience fear, but fear is part of bigger picture. And to do this, I need to touch deeper place where I can invite fear. Yeah, I could say more, because also I'm worrying about Poland. There is my mother, there is my sister, there are my friends. I'm expat in China. So huge change, different languages, different kind of people, and work, finding myself in professional life, and culture, huge change. And I was in a crash many times. I even was lying on the floor saying, what I'm doing here. But to come back one more time and to reconnect with something bigger than I am. So this is a huge resource for me. Nature, community. I deeply value our connection right now, our meeting and work. For example, last year in a group which Celine was leading, I felt such support. So connection with people is super important. People who are care, I feel, who are care. And to share this care with others too. So this is what is like waking up right now when I hear your sharings. Thank you.
I want to add something very brief that I think I understood when you're sharing, and it sort of put it together for me with what Gloria was saying and her overwhelm and the change, is that this sort of adventurous type of challenge carries with it, it's built into it, the movement of the body, that we're going to go and we're actually going to move our body and do something. When I'm going to climb, I'm going to take this difficult situation and move it through. And I think this is what we can learn, is the how, right? Because the trauma becomes trauma when immobilized in the body. So the sitting, and I see it with my mother right now in Poland. She's been depressed for years. She is tirelessly making boxes for Ukrainian families. She works 12, 16 hours a day. She hasn't been happier in 20 years. So something has woken up through that, the sense of purpose and the moving of the body. Okay, I'm doing this. I think we can, and including me in many, many days, learn from that somehow in how to get into these states where we can be resourceful.
I'm having a lot of thoughts as people speak. So one thing I was starting from before anyone even spoke is just a recognition of the different parts of our brain that come online to deal with different things going on, and that we go into survival mode very easily when we're threatened. And from that place, we don't have a lot of choices. It's a very instinctive reaction place. We don't necessarily come up with good solutions or good paths forward. So I think that speaks some to what you were talking about, Michal, in terms of being in the proper state. And that proper state means being able to calm the nervous system so that we can bring in other parts of our brain and bring them online to respond to what's going on rather than just react. And Marta, I think your thoughts about the body are a very important part of that. And I think nature is also an important part of that. I think that's part of why nature helps us so much. It helps us shift states. And another theme I was hearing here has to do with nobody said the word isolation, but I think when we feel isolated, when we're all on our own and we think it's all on us to deal with whatever comes next and we don't know what it is, that's a terrifying place to be. And when we're connected to something beyond ourselves, everything changes. Nigel, you were talking about the sense of community support, that in that group of people, something shifted. There was a sense of the community, and that changed the way everyone felt about being with not knowing. I think that I also was thinking in terms of Kasia, what you were saying about the need to control. When and we all, I think, have a little bit of that need to control. It speaks to me of the serenity prayer that is so much a part of the 12-step program and other places where people know of it, which is, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And we often go around thinking that we, isolated individuals, are supposed to be able to take care of everything. And of course, we can't. And recognizing the things that we can do makes a huge difference. Marta, I'm thinking of your mother making those boxes. Okay. That I didn't have that sense of purpose. And as much as I certainly didn't want my world to be threatened the way it was in those stories, I was envious of that sense of purpose that the people in the stories had, that there was something so important that everything they had was devoted to that. And Marta, I think your mother making those boxes, I really hear that. It's like, here is a purpose that is really worth something. And it's a purpose beyond my own individual self that connects me to a community, to other beings, to other humans. And then there's that connection to something that is maybe beyond humans. And that's where we have that nature connection, which for a lot of us is the way we connect with what is beyond our own individual ego-based self. For others, it's prayer. For others, it's whatever religious or spiritual traditions they have. But that's how do we connect to something that is beyond ourselves and also have some trust in that, some trust that something is going to come through that my conscious mind does not know about yet, and that my conscious mind can't do this, can't find the answers. I have to open something up to a larger force here. And the only way to do that is coming back to the brain, to relax my nervous system so that I can experience that. And I just think of one other thing, which is that I have, for my entire life, I've been a teacher since I was 15. I've been teaching dance or other things, and I've always had a certain amount of anxiety before I teach. And and a lot of inquiry and exploration of that, a lot of it is because my best teaching happens not from rote, not from having completely organized everything and having a script. That's not my best teaching. My best teaching is when I'm responding to the moment of what's there and what's in the room with me and what's in the people I'm with, and bringing in something that is needed in that moment. And I can't know what that is consciously. So there's always this anxiety of not knowing, because I have no idea when I go into a teaching situation what will come and what I will need to respond to. But I have come to trust that there is some channel in me that opens and what is needed comes through. And enough times of doing that after all these years, I can calm that anxiety and allow myself to be in the state where that can happen. It's all from me.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm recording this meeting, so I don't see that I could send heart. This mechanical, let's say, like. But I would love to. I can relate to what you said, Celine, so much. So important to calm nervous system and be in this place of being connected. And yeah, thank you for your sharing.
And I guess I have so many reactions to each one of you. I know Elena hasn't spoken yet, but the part, I guess, that I want to share, that coming from Poland at 17, from actually huge unknown, kind of being aware that I am from this little country that everybody wants a piece of, and being bombarded with that growing up, whether from the Russians or the Polish, the war stories and all this. And so in a way, realizing that, a lot of our ancestors, a lot of our parents, they didn't know. They were running. So you were talking about survival. They were just running, right? And so that's what I see right now, what's happening. And I am seeing it from a perspective of America, where we know everything, obviously, quote, where, my house is insured, my car is insured, I have a health insurance, my children are insured, it's this assurance, where in all reality, right, if we go deeper, there's no assurances. There's no assurances. And in a way, that's what, this consciousness. And I know you guys were talking about nature, but even from that state when I was reflecting on nature, with nature, you don't know either, right? I mean, it could be an earthquake or a flood or a fire. I mean, I live in a fire zone. So then how do we hold this deeper and deeper and deeper, right? And how do we let go of insurance? I don't know.
Yeah, and there is a question which is coming to me: how to let go, and how to live in the way which you, Celine, were sharing just now. How to make it in practical way.
Michal, a little bit.
Yes. But is it better now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And yeah. So question which came to me is how to make in very practical way what we are sharing right now. How to let go. How to live in the way which Celine, you were sharing. How to calm nervous system and how to be aware of it, that it's needed, and how to make in challenging moments. I would be curious because I have also my my practices. I would be curious about your practices. Maybe we could share about this, and also let other people know what we are doing.
It is nature as well in God. And I know in Creative Mind we don't talk about God. I don't know. I got God when I was young, and it's not some fundamentalist God, but it's this presence in the universe. I mean, somebody in my group said it's the creative mind. It's something bigger than me, but it is some kind of, it's a presence to me that I can't define. That I doing last year transcendental meditation besides the creative mind, which is just sort of entering into a empty meditation space with a mantra, and just because it's even more empty to me than regular meditation, particularly guided meditation, because it's just me and this little mantra that, so being with the unknown, which actually I'm super restless sometimes in the unknown, and they allow you to like switch or check your clock, you know, where you are at. And sometimes I just hit it like every 5 minutes. Is it time yet? Am I done? Because it's, for me, it's very hard sometimes to just sit. So God often is my best holding space. Just God, whatever that means. It's a goddess. I don't, you know, it
So for me, my practice is, first of all, to be grounded, to come home, to create that empty space. Very quickly doesn't stay empty. So it's to welcome all the parts that are around in that moment. So in my morning practice, I know it's going to be about my day, all the parts of that day, and just at the moment, so many more things too. And when you used the word earlier, Michael, surrender, and said it's not about giving up. No, not at all. It's about welcoming. And I have this moment of reception and swimming with all of those parts, welcoming, and they're with me. And periodically through the day, to reconnect with that as a source, to welcome all those parts, create an intention for myself for how I need to be that day, in that moment. And it's really interesting because Stephen went to sort of 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day to thousands of times a day. And that's so interesting that seems to be the way things are happening. And very early this morning, I woke and really spent, it's interesting, I lost track of the time, but really spent some time centering, welcoming, and creating an intention for how I needed to be in that moment. I hope I explained that well. It means a lot to me, and I hope I've no idea how you would have received that.
Beautiful. Thank you. One other thing that I do, I somehow between creative mind and somebody, a friend said, I think it's the Nindira nest, wreath, whatever. It's that Indian notion of the pearls. So circle of love. So I sometimes, it's a kind of resourcing, right? So who is in my circle of love today? You know, just as I said, intention, who I circle myself in. That's another.
Yes, Celine.
I was just going to say we still have not heard from Elena.
Exactly, I wanted to say this. Some people who didn't share.
There's so much just coming up, and it's I remembered as Martin Michal was talking about diving and climbing experience. That was my ocean crossing experience, all this crossing Atlantic and Pacific and the Indian Oceans. And I was just trying to connect with myself with this this experience, and I remember it was how sometimes when I remember it, it's really like for 2 months in the open ocean, just and you don't know actually where you go because you're trying to find facades, and you just trying just to avoid storms, and there is no possibility to survive if it's really a hard storm, and no one will save you when the in the middle of the ocean somewhere. And but there was really completely not known, but I remember it was kind of this really deep trust to anything what it comes. And I wasn't a generative change coach that time, and I didn't know creative mind. And actually, I was for me it was, as I now see, it was really a period of some really building my self-awareness through the through connection with the ocean and nature. And I remember this, really, you just trust anything can happen. You really not sure. You just have this hope. You trust people around you, even if you just meet them and you don't know them. And it's not like your best friends you go. No, just few people you just met them and you go. And I think it was a really crucial, this deep trust, and this also I felt deep connection with ocean, like this beauty of the ocean. So I was constant admiring and gratitude with that I was there. I can watch and enjoy all this sunset and sunrise and this huge, enormous beauty in it. And I just I really I had no time to worry where and how, and even during the storms, I was really in the state of trust and gratitude that I'm having this experience. I always was thinking it's really a lifetime experience. And now, and each crossing, each ocean crossing, for example, or tough regatta, like some really tough one, it was for me. Oh, it's last time. It's lifetime experience. But then I was going again, and for me now it's like I'm going through the ocean now. I'm having the storm and around me, and I can rely only on myself, but it's not myself isolated, myself disconnected from the whole. It's my deep self, which is part of this universal Halon, and I really feel that light inside, and I know it's just a part of all this universal consciousness. So it's really like Michal told, it's really connection to the source, but inside myself I have the source. Just I have this door, I have a key how to open this door, and through myself, through this open channel, to reconnect to the source. And then in this uncertainty, not knowing, you always have this support of yourself, of the island of yourself. Like I remember Thich Nhat Hanh was teaching, you can always return to the island of yourself, if I remember right. His meditation, and in today's crisis, when no one knows actually. I'm afraid even Mr. Putin doesn't know what he's going to do. So I feel like I can only return to the island of myself, and through me connecting to deeper source and to all the communities. Of course, I feel this connection all the time for myself, and just enjoy the beauty of this storm. And getting this huge energy from this storm. At the same time, knowing that something, a lot of things happen, and people in these countries and everything, but at the same time, you know, it's unique and the only moment now, and just I can only be as responsive at this moment as I can. And then from this point, I can act maybe in more right way, in more maybe best for myself and my family way at this moment. And then maybe you'll see what happens. Thank you.
We have Kathleen Dameron here, who just joined us. Welcome, Kathleen, in our group. We are sharing about our ways of being with unknown, and we did introduce ourselves and about our background and where are we connecting from. There are also some people who didn't say more. Maybe Alex, maybe Gloria, you would like to also, Marta, to say more. So welcome.
Thank you, Elena. It was interesting listening to you because I know what you're going through, and your voice was soothing. So it made me feel, well, it's possible. So thank you. And I've been doing sort of meditations in the morning, guided meditations. And since things get more complicated, I started to realize how much I need my morning silence. Just being with myself. It soothes me more than following a voice. I need that time to feel my body, just that, to feel how I'm going to start the day. And then I need my morning walks. I need being in nature. I really feel when I can't do that, how my tension and there is an electricity in my body that I can acknowledge. While when I go for the walks, it just I don't know, it goes away. I feel more relaxed, completely different. And then what's going on here, I completely understand what you were saying, Sabine, about isolation, because whenever I start feeling I'm on my own with this, it's worse. And when I come here and I connect, whoever there is, it feels different, completely different. I get more energy to go out and be with whatever there is in a different state. Thank you.
For me, so much of this is really prevention of going into these triggered or disturbed states. And I know, I just know that if I do my homework, if I do my practices, I am, at this point, I just know that if I don't do them, I can't do my work with people. So it becomes just a part of my week. And I have this whole system. I spend quite a bit of time, usually 3 days a week in nature, doing physical exercise that, just like Gloria said, really helps me run things through and discharge and keep that channel open. And I don't know, I just have this sort of mantra: practice when the stakes are low. So when there isn't all that much things going on, this is my time to train my mental state, so that when something happens, I am trained, prepared, right? And it doesn't mean that I always am, but somehow just the practice of training, and I call it training because I think it's just like the same for the body, and it is for our states. We're only as good as our practice. And I think we've all found out the hard way, right? Going, oh, I get it. I know I'm good. Like, I don't need to do any more work. And then it's like, this giant wave of whatever it is crashes on us. So I just have such deep trust, something that Elena was talking about. The trust really deeply touched me, and I have trust that if I do the work, it's not like I can deal with everything, but I can at least give myself a fighting chance to stay present and maybe sometimes even be helpful.
you, Marta. As you were speaking, it occurred to me that I think I've spent most of my life preparing myself or trying not to be knocked over in that way. And interestingly, and Elena, when you were sharing, over 20 years ago, my wife and I bought a plot of land with a house that was falling down. And we lived in a caravan for 2 years while we rebuilt it. And we ran out of money. And we were threatened with really bankruptcy, I guess. And this notion of not knowing how to do things, I had to learn to do many things myself. And I used to sit in my favorite place in the building when it was warm, in the eaves, in the roof of the house, and sit on the oak beams, looking out into the estuary, into the sea and the stars, and find a place. And many times in those moments, something would emerge. And what occurs to me, and has occurred to me for a long time, is what mostly occurred, what really was connection with other people and the need to open up to the vulnerability of the situation we are in, receive it, and open that unlock that place that you were talking of, that when I wasn't in that state, I couldn't open. I was locked. But when I was in that state, I had the key. The key was with me all the time to unlock that door, to enter into that space. And there wasn't always something there, but I was comfortable then with not knowing. But equally knowing that something would come, something would emerge, and that we together, my wife and I, had everything we needed. And it took 2.5 years to do that project. I mean, I'm laughing because in many respects it still isn't finished. Little bits never get finished. And yet it is such a rewarding thing. And I'm sitting in a what is now our second home. Sadly, my mother-in-law died and left this to her. And so we sort of find ourselves here because we don't leave it alone. And we're going to go through a similar transitional project with this property. It won't be quite so seriously financially threatening, but I'm so looking forward to that not knowing and being comfortable with not knowing, because I know. So thank you for sharing your ocean journey. I too love sailing, and I understand that so well. Thank you.
Welcome, Alex, Kathleen, if you would like to join to share something. And later, if it's okay, Celine, also I would like you to share with us your meditation. It was so beautiful. Maybe you could offer this to us. Also, I would love to just say that before I make meditation during the day or mental practice, I need to move body. So going to mountains, I'm living close to the jungle, so going there, sometimes walking, sometimes running, swimming, and then I am prepared to already this is meditation to me, and later I can see it and guide, just follow my awareness and touch places deeper than just cognitive thinking. So this is my practice. I need to move body. and then I'm prepared to do different things.
So my name is Kathleen, and I'm in Paris, France. And probably since November, but definitely since December, I've been going through a very intense period of not knowing. And I call it a cocoon period. You know, the caterpillar comes in and the butterfly is going to come out. But in between, there's nothing, just mulch. And I really need to just trust that I was going through a cocoon period. And it wasn't about meditating, and it wasn't about doing anything. And I often spent just a lot of time looking at the sky. And being very careful, because in Western psychology, there's not a place to just say nothing. It becomes depression or da-da-da. It's not just, I don't want to sleep, I don't want to do anything, and just need to sit and let the caterpillar become a butterfly. And I was hoping it would only be till January. And it's been till March. So that's good. That's springtime, and that's when, the earth starts to have flowers again. And I'm not dancing, and I'm not meditating, and just being with what happens and what comes up. And now more things come up, and it's just a slow process. And last week, a friend of mine sent me 2 Afro-European interns who are 20 years old. And I said, okay, they can't find an internship and they need an internship. But now I'm living every day, 7 hours a day, for 6 weeks with 2 20-year-old women. That's definitely the end of cocoon in one way. And I said yes, and I didn't go looking for them, they just showed up. And this is my 3rd day of being the mentor for 2 human beings. I find that a very interesting turn of events.
Anything else that wants to be said? And then I can take us into a meditation at that point.
Yeah, thank you, Celine. If it's okay, I will just briefly share what I experience right now. For me, this. Okay, I will take my microphone. Now it's better. Thank you. And I would like to briefly share what happened to me when I was experiencing the silence and connection. It's so great part. I would say it's not a part, it's a deeper layer to what sometimes needs to be said, like in words, with words. And what came to me is that compassion is not just identification with suffering. Compassion is exactly touching the deeper place where suffering can be welcomed, or to the place from which I extend my love to my suffering or to suffering of others. So also remembering about this sharing love with myself is so important, and from this place I can touch others. And compassion is also taking actions to decrease suffering. So this is what I wanted to say, and I'm very glad to hear, Celine, if you could lead meditation, which is beautiful.
Sure.
If somebody would like to add something, welcome. We still have a time.
Yeah, I just wanted to sort of share my observation in which we're talking about not knowing, and this simple commitment to not knowing for a little bit at least opens me up to hear from you what your not knowing is about, and therefore I learn that my learning is more. I'm more open to learning is what it is, right? So that it's a really nice shift in perspective to really deeply listen to everybody's share and really try it on. Mm-hmm.
And I have a brief share also that I got in touch with as I'm listening to you. So I have health issues. I'm not going to bother you with those health issues, but they started when I was 2 years old. And I remember talking to Steve a year and a half ago when I was in a lot of pain. I reached out to him, and what he said was surrender. Because that's basically the bottom, was just surrender and be with the pain and be with the not knowing. Because for me, about health is also always there might be another health issue, or the pain won't go away, and just being able to surrender. So that's what I try to practice actually every day, surrendering to what is and to not knowing. Just following up on what Martha said, every day kind of walk in not knowing. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I like to start with just right where we are, just taking in where you are, the space that's around you, and where you are in that space. And what you're resting on, however you placed your body. Maybe there's stillness in the way that you've placed yourself, or maybe there's some movement, and maybe you want to experiment a little bit with movement just to see what helps you get even more comfortable in this place. And in that movement that you find yourself with, whether it's something big, maybe you're stretching, or maybe you're just breathing, because that's movement also. Is bringing yourself into your sense of being in your body. Just bringing your awareness to different places, wiggling things, shifting things, just acknowledging this body that you're in and the places that might be painful, places that might be uncomfortable, places that feel good and relaxed, the places that maybe were feeling neglected until you began to notice them. And as you're noticing, you might notice your breath and how you are breathing already. And maybe playing with that breath a little bit, because breath does its own thing unless we bring our conscious mind to it. And it's kind of amazing that way, that it is an unknown, unconscious process until we bring consciousness to it. And there's a whole continuum of that, of really controlling the breath, making every bit of it, counting different parts of it, pranayama practices. There are a lot of things we can do very consciously with breath. And then there's also just allowing the breath to be, seeing how it goes when we just let it breathe, let breath happen. And you might check in with how you are right now in your breathing. Just noticing if there's any place in you that might like to have a little more breath to help relax, to help the nervous system to calm down. Sometimes breathing into the belly can really speak to the nervous system, send messages saying, it's okay. Whatever happens next, there is breath right now. You might imagine for a moment all the familiar ways that you are in your body. All of the routines of your day that your body does again and again. How you get up from a chair, how you sit down, how you walk from room to room, or move in whatever ways you do. Just recognizing those familiar patterns that are they're not requiring any consciousness from you to happen. And being aware that there are those moments throughout each day when something has to wake up to consciousness in order to do something out of that familiar. And sometimes even that is a deep instinctual process. Maybe you trip on something and your body finds a way to right itself to keep from falling over. Maybe you do fall over and find yourself rolling into that fall in the best way possible to not be injured. Maybe something awakens inside of you and says, I want something different to eat. I want something different in this moment. Some awareness comes up. Not questioning, where did that come from? Where are those places that we can trust? Something that comes through, that breaks through the patterns, brings us something new, something creative. That is also something that comes from the not knowing. Much as we may be worried or scared in those times of not knowing, there is also the freshness that comes in not knowing. Even the pleasure that can come in that adventure of not knowing and allowing what comes next to come through us from someplace deeper, wider, larger than that small self that works with patterns moment to moment. What if we invite our connection to that larger sense of things, that larger place beyond our individual selves, that place where we come together and learn from each other, feel held by each other, feel that spark of something beyond what we already knew. And still stay open to what might still come in that not knowing moment of opening. How rich can it be to allow all of that together, the parts of us that know, that have learned, that have practiced, that have reached for resources and connected, and that part that is still unknown, that part that comes in the moment of silence. That spark. that new knowing. That relaxing into, letting go into, surrendering into whatever comes next with some trust that we are held in something beyond what we know yet. Taking a few moments here to just breathe into that. Just being with all that's there and all that is not yet there. And as we begin to prepare for whatever is next in our day, in our lives, just finding that place of centering in your own body and being open and ready, centered and connected. Breathing your way into this next moment of beginning to come back to each other here. Opening your eyes again to this space that you're in, both the one that's physically around you and the one that we're in here together. And thank you for going on that little journey with me. And thank you, Michal, for inviting us all together.
Thank you, Celine, for a beautiful meditation, and thank you all for creating together. I feel a lot of gratitude, and I'm touched with quality I'm experiencing right now, quality of our connection, and quality of what we're sharing and how we're sharing. So I'm very, very grateful for being and creating together.
Thank you, Michal. Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
So maybe this is a moment to go further, to go through threshold, to say bye-bye and see in another circumstances.
Zenia, do zobaczenia.
Do zobaczenia. All the best. See you.
Zobaczenia.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.